Hello, and welcome to another video from your friends here at Professional Data Management. In this video, we'll create a repository in GitHub and transfer files to the repository that we have created from Git. This video assumes that you have already downloaded and configured Git. If you haven't installed it yet, pause now and join us after you have done so. Links are in the description for our Git installation and configuration tutorial. So let's start by opening a browser, doing a search, and navigate to the home page. Here, you will have the option to sign up for an account, so follow the instructions and get signed in. Once you've completed all the steps, you'll be guided to the welcome page. On the welcome page, you'll have the option to start a project. This is precisely what we want to do, so let's go ahead and click there. On the next page, you'll see that the owner is identified as whatever your user ID is, but the repository does not yet have a name. We're going to call this repository Git Test. In order to help us keep track of our project, we can define it by adding a description in the field that's provided. This description will read, "This will help us test Git and GitHub." Your repository will be public by default. If you would like it to be private instead, there is a fee associated with that, so we're going to go ahead and skip it. We do actually want a README file, so let's check the checkbox next to initialize this repository with a README. There's also an option to choose the specific language that you want, as well as the specific license that you might want to apply. Since we don't need either of these for the time being, we're going to accept the default and click Create Repository. As you can see, our repository has been created with the name Git Test. As we specified, the README file is also there, along with the description that we created to define our project. Now that our repository exists, let's locate Git Bash from the Start menu and launch it. Once the Git Bash interface is launched, go to your C drive and create a new folder called Git. Okay, so let's go back to the Git Bash interface and type cd/c and hit enter. Notice that in Git Bash, you are now looking at the C drive directory. Type ls and hit enter. What you're going to see is a listing of all the files and directories that exist in your C drive. So let's take a look here and make sure that the Git folder that we created is there. Okay, great. Now that we know it's there, we want to look inside of our Git folder. So we're going to go ahead and type cd git / and then hit enter. Notice that you're now inside the Git folder. Also notice that when we type ls to see the contents that exist here, nothing's going to appear because we haven't put anything in this folder yet. So now what we want to do is clone our repository. We're going to clone it into the folder that we created, so navigate back to the browser where GitHub is open. In the Clone or Download drop-down, copy the URL address to your clipboard. Once you have that, navigate back to Git Bash. We'll begin the configuration process by typing git -global user.name, whatever the name is for your GitHub account, and then press enter. Next, we'll give our email by typing git config -global user.email, and then our email address, which is whatever email you used for your GitHub account, and then press enter. Next step, we're going to clone our repository by typing git clone, and then pasting in the path that we copied from our GitHub repository. Then hit enter. By executing this command, what we've done is taken all the files from our repository and enabled them to be used locally. You can see that the Git test folder has been added inside of our Git folder. In Git Bash, when we type ls inside of the Git folder to view its contents, notice that Git test appears there as well. Let's go inside the Git test folder by typing cd git test / and hitting enter. Next, type in ls and hit enter. Notice that now our README file is in there, whereas before it was empty. Now what we can do is create some files, commit them, and upload them into our GitHub account. Navigate back to the Git test folder, right-click, and open up a text document. We're going to name this file test tech. Open up the file we just created, and inside the text document, type the phrase tech with professional data management. Save the file, close it, and navigate back to Git Bash. In Git Bash, we're going to type the ls command and hit enter. You can now see that it contains the text files we just created called test tech. Now, in order to upload this file to GitHub, what we need to do is type in this command: git add testtech.txt, and then press enter. In order to check the status of the working directory, we can type the command git status and hit enter. In the status details, you can see that test tech has now been added as a new file. Before transferring these files to our GitHub account, we'll need to commit them. Once we've done that, we'll be able to upload them. In order to accomplish this, we'll need to execute this command: git commit -m quote this commit testtech.txt and hit enter. This will commit your file into Git, and now you'll be able to transfer this file into your GitHub account. In order to transfer this file, there's a command that we can use called push. So type git push -uorigin master and hit enter. Once you've finished that, you'll see that the command has pushed the test tech file into your GitHub account. Okay, so just to check, let's navigate back to our Git repository. As you can see, the README file is the only one that currently exists in here, because we haven't refreshed yet. Once we refresh the page, we can see that the file has indeed been pushed into our Git repository. When we open up the testtech.txt file, we can see that the text we typed was pushed through as well. So let's jump back in and make some changes to our text file. We're going to type ProDataman ProData Pro. Save the file and close it. Next, we navigate back to Git Bash so we can push the changes through. We can use the up button to scroll through previous commands, so hit the button until you see Git status and then hit enter. Notice that the status of our document is now modified. Push the up button again to scroll up to the git commit -m this commit command. We're going to change this commit to that commit. Hit enter, and this will commit the changes that we just made. Next, we're going to use the git push -uorigin master command to push our changes through to our GitHub repository. Once you see that it's gone all the way through in Git Bash, navigate back to the Git test repository and refresh the page. Let's go ahead and take a look inside of our text document. Notice that the text has been modified because of the changes we made in Git. As you can see, the changes that we made locally have been pushed through to our repository that resides in our GitHub account. So this is just a quick way that we can test our configuration of GitHub, where we make some changes on our local desktop in Git and push them into the cloud where they're filtered into our GitHub repository. Once we see those changes in our repository, we can rest assured that our configuration has been set up correctly and we are now ready to utilize GitHub for whatever our future endeavors might entail.